Hello, and welcome to episode 155 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm James.
And you know what 155 means, right?
Yeah, it means next week is our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what anniversary that is. Like, I don't know if that counts as the paper one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything special planned for next week. So
No. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll send you a cake or something like we're TikTok or something. With a big 3 on it. You'll just come home and what is this?
I'll put my face in it.
Content. So this week we are going to talk about kind of random odds and ends. Like, this is that weird time where Wizards is actually closed. I actually saw what is it? Is it Brett or Brad Rasmussen?
Mm-hmm.
Saffron Island was like, oh, maybe they're gonna do the alchemy update this week, and he's like, yeah, our office is closed till Wednesday, so probably not. Yeah. So Wizards has been closed for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know they close before Christmas and through New Year's. So.
Yeah, so there's not been a whole lot. So we're gonna talk about some changes that that are coming to Magic Online and how they may or may not impact Magic Online and kind of the larger Magic ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And then big shakeup in the coverage world.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this episode's going to be a little newsy and a little... Have you watched What If on Disney?
I have not. Hannah did. I did not. I need to. But yeah, very much like what if this happened. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's worth watching. You should watch it.
Yeah. There are so many. I need to watch The Witcher still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Falling way behind.
Hannah started watching it. I was like, I was going to watch that with you, but she. So I always feel bad. Here we go, behind the curtain. So she has to come home and do notes a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel bad if I have something on that she's going to get sucked into.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make her notes take way longer.
Right.
Or vice versa. If she's super focused on her notes,
she's not going to pay attention.
She's not going to pay attention to the thing. So she her current background show or thing is she has watched The Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Start to finish 6 times. So
she's a big fan then, huh?
Big fan. But it's just a thing that's on, so she's not so we've not sat down to watch The Witcher. So we need to make that happen. Anyway, if you have some magic-y stuff that you want us to talk about, you can get us at Casual Tripod on Twitter. We basically were at a point where unless something wacky happens, Wizards is giving us no content until the end of this month, beginning of next month.
Well, we should be getting spoilers next week or the week after next, I think.
I looked before. There's only 2 weeks before they release the set, so it's only
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we looked
only
last
get a week of spoilers this time?
Yeah, or 10 days. It's super short.
Wow. All right, so we got a couple weeks where we need filler. So let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll definitely talk about it. You can let us know on Facebook at CasualTryHardMTG, or you can drop us an email, show@CasualTryHardMTG.com. Also, I would like to take a moment to remind everybody that we have a TCG Player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. Head over there if you're looking to pick up any singles or magic whatnots. Just navigate to the TCG Player website using that link, and anything you purchase will get a percentage of to help keep the show going. And if you guys want to support us a little bit more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Patrons get early access to our show notes, so you know what we're going to be talking about that week. I guess if you give us show ideas, you'll also know what we're going to be talking about that week, but that's besides the point. Patrons also get access to our pre-show, where we spend an hour-ish just kind of shooting the crap, check on our mics, make sure all the settings are correct, whatever, because we're old and sometimes these techie things break and we don't really know how to fix them quickly. So we do all that in the pre-show, and you get to listen to all of it. It's great. Patrons get access to that. You also get put on my mailing list. Usually, like every other month, I'll mail something out to the patrons. It's kind of a grab bag. I tend to do them like in like series. So the first ones that went out like all throughout last year were Good Luck Basic Lands that I had scribbled on and put our logo on, and people seem to really like them. And this time around, they're super cool. I don't want to spoil it, but maybe if one of our patrons wants to, take a picture of the last give back they received and post it up either on social media or on Discord or something, and give everyone else a little taste of what they're missing, they're more than welcome to. Speaking of which, we have our Discord. There's a link in the description. There's a link on all our social media if you want to come join the conversation. Discord's probably the best way or the quickest way to get a hold of me. I know you're on there quite a bit also, but I tend to monitor Discord pretty frequently throughout the day. There's a whole room in there dedicated to show ideas. So if there's something that you want to hear about, hop over there, post it up. And a lot of times if it's just something quick, I'll just answer it. But if it's, something that we're going to have a big conversation about, I'll save it for the show. So hop on our Discord, let us know what you're thinking, what you want to hear about, especially for the next 2 weeks or so, because content's a little thin.
Yeah. Spoilers start January 27th.
Wow, that's a ways from now.
Yeah.
It's like 3 weeks.
It is.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, so I think we've got through all this stuff. Random question first. This might have been pre-show material. So my brother got me packs of Magic cards.
Okay.
So I opened my first packs of Magic cards in
in a long time, right?
A long time. I feel like, have they changed how they make packs, or did I just get like a bunch of Japanese packs? Because like the packs I got were like super loose and baggy, like when they're from the Japanese like printings.
Yeah.
So like, do they just do them all the packs like that now? Was
the order backwards?
Yes.
Okay, so those were Japanese packs then.
Okay, that's what I thought, because they had the super loose. Because he bought it from the new branch of our local game store.
Ooh, the one out in Conway?
Yeah. And I was like going through it, opening them and talking to him about cards, and I was explaining Ragavan, and he was like, that sounds dumb. He hasn't played Magic in like 20 years. He's like, that sounds stupid. Very good. You apparently could work R&D.
Well, no, he couldn't, because if he thought it was stupid, then like R&D obviously thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. But he also was watching me, and I got the like blank cards for like the flip cards, and he was like, did you get gypped? I'm like, no. I had to explain to him what they were for. He had never seen a flip card before. But like, so that's just a thing that's happening maybe more often now, because like that's only happened like one other time I can remember, like the super loose packs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more frequent than it used to be. It depends on like how your order gets filled, I guess.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah, these are Japanese packs because they make them so they go in a vending machine.
Yeah, you can also. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. Like it used to be the Japanese packs were like they were just different, and they like had the hole in them, and like they were meant to be in a vending machine. The new ones, I don't think we get those anymore unless they're Japanese language cards. The Japanese language cards might still come like that.
They were English.
Yeah, they print English cards at the Japanese place also, and they use the same, I don't know what you want to call it, materials, processes, whatever, but the packaging is slightly different because there's no vending machine, so they don't leave the extra room at the top with the hole punch thing in it.
These were definitely looser, but
yeah,
I was like these are Japanese packs.
Yep, it should say on it.
I didn't look that close, but I was just
thing
like,
up, it'll say made in Japan.
where it was made. Yeah, I was like, Yeah, but it was weird. I was opening packs and I was like, huh, and like explaining to him like, oh yeah, this is what cards do now.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, good old Sarah Angel. I'm like, basically unplayable even in limited.
Yeah. I mean, it's a welcome deck card now.
Yeah, 4/4 Flying Vigilance at uncommon. Yeah, can't play it. Can't take it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a common power level card now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it was just
even that.
It was just fun opening packs and being like, oh hey, I needed this card for the cube.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, like I got a couple uncommons that I didn't have from that set for the cube. I was like, good job, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good.
I did notice when I opened my collector box for VOW, those packs are different. Like the pack material was like thick.
Okay.
Like really thick and hard to tear. And
yeah, he got me like 2 draft boosters and 4 set boosters.
Yeah.
So, and I think the draft boosters were the weird ones. And then the set boosters weren't.
Yeah.
The set boosters, I was like, oh, this is the order these are supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was interesting. I was like, oh, this is what opening packs is like.
Almost forgot, huh?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I know you probably have all the cards, but, it's still fun to open packs. I was like, it is. And opened a Necro Duality right out of the rip, and I was like, good job.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, good job.
Yeah, nice.
So, after we talk about adventures in pack opening, we're going to talk about virtual pack opening and Magic the Gathering. Or
maybe the lack thereof.
Or the lack thereof. Magic the Gathering Online. So, there's some new stuff that we can be sure about, and then there's some speculation stuff that we're gonna do. Wild baseless speculation, everyone's favorite subtopic on our show, about what this can mean for the future. And I think I talked about it last time, but the Arena Decklist podcast, the one right before Christmas, does goes into a lot of these issues, and I'll bring up some of the stuff that they said in the first 20 minutes of their podcast about Magic Online.
Yeah.
And they're both way more enfranchised Magic Online players than we are.
Yeah, I have played very little Magic Online.
Yeah.
Kind of as I said when we were doing our Pauper episode with Brad, I played a little bit of Pauper on Moto, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago. And other than that, I really haven't played any. I think there was a brief stint before Arena where I randomly bought a standard deck and tried to play it on Magic Online and got really frustrated and
kept losing to the interface. Yes.
Yeah.
So the change is that Magic, the Wizards, is kind of giving the reins of Magic the Gathering Online to another company.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good way to put it. They're still maintaining ownership and some control, I would imagine. But yeah, letting someone else steer the ship.
Yeah, basically they're like, here's our program. Here are our programmers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part too.
Yeah, just basically you guys are going to run this now. So they've given it to Daybreak Games. And Daybreak is seemingly, from what I've heard and seen and stuff, known for running kind of games that are beloved and have a very dedicated fan base, but are not the most cutting edge things. So EverQuest is 1,000,000 years old. And Daybreak has
literally 1,000,000 years old.
And Daybreak has been keeping EverQuest running for years. Now, they've basically been like, this version works. We're not going to do anything to super change anything.
Right.
If you want to keep giving us whatever, 1995 or whatever to log into EverQuest, we will take your money and allow you to log into EverQuest. But they don't seem to do a lot to push the programs forward.
Yeah.
They're almost, you can think of them almost as caretakers. Where they're going to, kind of maintain Magic Online for the people that use Magic Online, but I would not expect like a major revamp of Magic Online.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think like the interface and the program itself like doesn't change at all. Obviously, they're going to put new sets on like as they're released.
Yeah,
I guess obviously, right? Like that's obvious.
yes, they even said that in the release that they're going to keep updating going forward. And the Wizards release mentioned that they were going to try to increase their focus and support for multiplayer experiences. So like more Commander things, or like making the Commander interface better. Is what it kind of like implied.
Yeah.
But I think the underlying, Excel spreadsheet nature of Magic Online is not going to change.
Yep.
So on one hand, it's good that Daybreak is a company that has demonstrated the ability and willingness to take these games and not like, slowly choke them out and kill them.
Right.
But like allow them to kind of maintain the level of support that they have had previously.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think one of the first things I thought is like, is this a way for like Wizards to, hand off the game and let someone else choke it out?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like that's Daybreak's MO.
Well, I mean, that might be Wizards' intent. Like, they just don't care about Moto anymore, and they're letting someone else deal with it. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that's necessarily Daybreak's MO either.
Yeah, because, however the contract is structured, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be taking over Magic Online if they didn't think they could, like, make it profitable for them.
Right.
Right. So, if they're giving Wizards a certain percentage of, their profits or whatever, like, they just want to make money. Yeah. And, like, it takes it off of Wizards' liability. I think they said they're even switching the servers over. Like, it's just all kind of migrating to Daybreak stuff.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, so I think that Daybreak is just, like, going to keep the ship, like, moving forward, but not doing anything to drastically change or improve things. The only thing that we can hope is that for the people that play Magic Online, that some of the supplemental products actually make it their way to Magic Online.
Yeah, that was one of the things in the article. There was a problem with some of the Commander cards, like getting ported in a like timely fashion.
Yeah, they just didn't make it over there.
Yeah, so I think this is supposed to help that.
And like I said, Wizards is like the people that work on Magic Online are moving to Daybreak, so they can be like, yeah, this is how this code works. And, if Daybreak's able to commit more people to, get cards to work and stuff, like that would be a good thing. Like I could see, like if I bought Magic Online, right? I would want to, at least on the front end, like once I got control of it, like go in and fix as much stuff as possible.
Yeah.
To get it to a point where like things work.
Right.
Like work well, and then now I can maintain.
Right.
Right? It doesn't make sense to get it and like leave it kind of in its, traditional buggy state and then be like, yep, this is good enough. It's like, no, like you have the people right now that have the expertise in Magic Online. Let them like fix stuff. And now, a year or 2 years from now, be like, okay, it works. We can just throw sets on it.
So that kind of raises an interesting question that I don't think I had thought of before. I know at one point when Wizards was designing cards, they were like closely working with Magic Online to make sure that cards that they designed could be, put on Magic Online. But if they don't have the reins anymore and they're not like the people that are running it aren't Wizards employees anymore. Like, I wonder what that communication is going to be like. Are they going to start making cards that all of a sudden, once it's released or whatever, like can't be put on Magic Online?
I would assume that there would still be communication between the two groups, like in the development stage.
Yeah.
But you might be right. Like, I'm sure that, Mike from Magic Online, who had an office down the hall in the WotC building.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like if you could walk down the hall and be like, hey man, how do I need to word this? And you could be like, I'll do it like this because, if you put that comma there, it just breaks the whole game. Then that's like you could get that much faster than like if you've got to like send them an email or do whatever.
Like, is the incentive there though?
I think that if from Wizards' point of view, if you wrote a contract that said we get 30% of all of your profits, right?
Yeah.
The way you maximize your 30% is Daybreak maximizing profits, which means hopefully you give them cards that they can put on your game.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's just like, hey, you pay us a flat rate of $1 million a year to have the rights to like run Magic Online, then the incentive structure is like not there.
Yeah.
But I would assume that like a team of lawyers would make it such a thing that like Wizards could not actively sabotage Magic Online.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think they would actively sabotage it, but like if they're making a set and I guess my point is like it's a lot more likely for a ball to get dropped, and Wizards is really good about balls.
About dropping balls. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like I said, if it's much easier if you have to like walk down the hall and stick your head in someone's office and ask them a question about formatting or templating or whatever, than it is to send an email and wait for the response and blah 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 blah. Right, so you may
email
just
gets shuffled into the spam folder and
forgotten
about.
Yeah, or like like you're like I gotta know this now. I'm just gonna do it this way, right?
Yeah.
Or like you're confident that you have the templating right, and then you're just like, oh yeah, I've done this like 1 million times, and then something small about the templating breaks it, and then it's like, oh, I guess I should have talked to Mike from Magic Online before we finalize this. But I mean, as we've seen in the last few years, even printed cards are not proofread.
That is true.
So, like, I'm sure they could go in and fix it. But yeah, no, I agree that like moving them out does probably lead to the chance that more things slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
So more baseless speculation. So what would be so I said if I got this thing I'd want it to work. What is something that you, if you were Daybreak, would want to change about Magic Online?
Well, so this is like the whole reason why I thought we'd talk about this on the show. Because depending on how you kind of alluded to whatever the contract is between WotC and Daybreak, depending on how that contract is written and what the like compensation package is, like Daybreak might be really incentivized to try and crank out like as much money from this thing as possible.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I don't think they maintain the current marketplace.
No.
Obviously you can't get rid of it because that's kind of the only thing that MTGO has over Arena is like the ability to have a collection and buy and sell cards and trade cards, and it has the whole like back catalog too.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing that like that ever makes me think about Magic Online is Modern Legacy.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they had Modern and Legacy on Arena, like I would have no reason to ever like think about Magic Online.
Right.
After I put like $17,000 into Arena to get all the cards. Why can't Gavin go to college? Well, you see. I have these full art 3D hollow online
Capricorn
underground seas.
swamps.
Yeah. Or whatever, right? So
Well, that was today's Secret Lair announcement. Did you miss that?
yeah, I did. What was it?
Capricorn swamps.
Okay.
They're doing Zodiac basic lands.
Huh.
That are going to be available all year long.
Okay.
Like, I guess they're rolling them out one at a time, but they will all be like in the Secret Lair store until the end of the year.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Interesting.
But
anyways.
Yeah. But yeah. So I think it's just like the ability to play older formats. But anyway, so if you were trying to extract as much value from this,
well,
why?
And also, like, maybe capture somebody like you that would only be interested in it for, the older formats. I think I would introduce like an onboard subscription service.
Yeah. So the way that Magic Online currently works is it works like a virtual,
game store
/ like just the actual Magic the Gathering physical experience in digital. Right. So when what was the most recent, when Crimson Vow launches,
mm-hmm.
there are 0 of those cards on Magic Online. Right. The only way cards get onto Magic Online is through opening packs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or and opening packs either by buying them or by doing drafts. And then they do find their way into treasure chests. But that's basically it, is like you have to open the packs. So just like
the cards don't exist until you open them.
Yeah, so just like day one when Val came out in paper, none of those cards existed as singles until someone opened the pack. Right. So that's how Magic Online works. And what ends up happening is those cards all have value, actual monetary value, in the form of the currency on Arena is tickets, and one ticket equals $1.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, Ragavan is like 100 tickets or 70 tickets or something right now. Right?
Crazy.
It's actually, yeah. So, like, I think a Ragavan is actually more expensive on Magic Online than it is in paper. So what happens is you open a Ragavan in your Modern Horizons 2 draft. You can sell it for tickets,
mm-hmm.
and then you can turn those tickets into dollar dues.
Or drafts or whatever.
Or drafts, right? Either like, and you can do this with bots,
mm-hmm.
right? So there are a bunch of people have programs that allow you to trade with them back and forth.
Yep.
And then, there are people that pay their rent off of Magic Online bots. Winnings. Yeah. And trading with bots, which is wild, right? But all of this value that's happening and money that's changing hands, Wizards gets no piece of.
Just like real cardboard. Once the packs are open, Wizards has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. See Secret Lairs where they're now selling you singles.
Right.
Right? So, but for years, they've had no way of capturing that, right? Mm-hmm. Getting any value out of this back and forth. And a thing that has happened is there are now loan services where people are like, well, I have this bot. I will let you pay a subscription to me, and I will let my bot lend you a certain number of tickets worth of cards.
Yep.
And then you can keep those cards for as long as you want. As long as you... Well, within reason.
I think there's usually a cap on a deck. Like, if you order cards for a deck, I think it's usually like a week or 2 turnaround time, and then they want the cards back.
Yeah, but you can also, like... I think, like, Saffron was talking about, like, you basically can... hey, like, I have a 200 ticket limit,
Mm-hmm.
So that costs me $5 a week. And as long as I'm paying my $5, I can keep the cards.
Gotcha.
Now, this might be different depending on who you use. But yeah, it's like you can, like, you have like a certain number of, a certain time you can keep them. Like, I know the system we used a couple years ago for like, was like, it was a time limit associated with it.
Yeah.
It was like you have this many tickets for this amount of time.
Right.
So if you had 100 tickets, you have like 1,000 ticket hours or whatever, you could have 100 ticket deck for 10 hours.
Or you could have 1,000 ticket deck for an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so like there are different systems, but people are effectively paying a subscription fee to not Wizards or not Magic Online.
Right. And like they got really popular around the start of the pandemic too, where a lot of people kind of stopped playing at their game store for obvious reasons. People that were playing Modern, Legacy, some of the other formats didn't really have like an analog to Arena, and they wanted to keep playing their format. So one of the ways that they were able to keep playing was to use the subscription services to play their format. And I know for a long time, like some of them were kind of hard to get into. There was waiting lists just to sign up for an account with some of them because the demand for the subscription service outpaced like the cards they had in inventory.
Like right after MH2 happened, a couple subscription services stopped taking new people.
Yeah, it happened like around the beginning of the pandemic too.
Because basically they were stretched so thin on cards that like you would request a card and you wouldn't be able to get it.
Right.
And they were like, well, this is a bad service now, so we're going to wait until we increase our inventories. Because, well, basically everyone's like, I want to borrow a Ragavan. And it's like, yeah, cool. So does everyone else.
Everybody else.
Yeah. So we were saying if we wouldn't get rid of the marketplace, but if you introduced a subscription service through the client where you could like have phantom access to the cards, right? You wouldn't be getting rid of the bots, right? But you would be offering an alternative to the bots where it's just like, oh, you have your subscription access, you have access to every card.
Yeah, I think like at this point, 20 years in or whatever to Magic Online, I don't think you can separate the bots from the economy or from people's like collections, Magic Online collections. And I don't think that you can really like stir up the pot there at all without having some significant backlash from the people that still use the program. There is, something to be said for like a stable economy. So
yeah.
I don't know that they want to do anything to like get rid of that. So I don't think they can just make the cards real cards like you would get from a subscription service now, because that would change like the economy.
Yeah. I mean, they do this already.
Yeah.
So, what is it called? During Eternal Weekend this year?
Yes.
You could like spend $10 and for 2 weeks you had access to like every card.
Right.
Because Eternal Weekend was on Magic Online. And they wanted people to be able to participate in Eternal Weekend, so they had like an arrangement set up.
Yeah,
where,
I forgot
like,
they did that.
Or it might have even been free access to the cards for a couple weeks. And they didn't put like a cap on like what format you could play. So you could like, during the Eternal Weekend promo, you could have just been jamming Standard. Because, well, I have free access to every card. Now I just have to pay for my entry fees.
I think you had to buy the Eternal Weekend Pass.
Yeah, it may very well been. Or like you had to like enter or something. You had to enter the Eternal Weekend thing. But then they weren't like, oh, you could only play Legacy and Vintage with these cards. It was like, okay, you bought the pass.
You have everything now.
You have everything now. do what you want.
Yeah. I forgot that they did that.
So, and they've done this they did this maybe last year, or I guess 2020 for Eternal Weekend. And they definitely did it in 2021.
Yeah.
So that is something that they've demonstrated the ability to do.
So what would you pay for that?
I think they have seen how much people will pay. So my guess would be if you set it to $20 a month, or $25, you would get, like, in the 15 to 25 range, you would get people doing it, right? Because right now, the Saffron Olive loan program that he's on is $5 a week. That's $20 a month.
Yeah. What's his ticket cap, though?
Was it 200?
Oh, okay.
Or something. I don't remember exactly. And I don't know if he actually, I don't know if he, pays for his loan program.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I think $20 a week is something that people have clearly demonstrated that they are willing to pay. So,
I think that's a good price point.
Yeah, if you're competitive with what the
loan services,
then I think the loan services become less desirable.
Yeah.
Right, and so, because having done the loan service itself was fine.
Yeah.
But actually interacting with a Magic Online interface to make it work,
right?
Yeah. And it's weird because to get cards you have to go
outside the
client, put the cards in that you want, then the bot sends them to you.
Yeah.
And then
the bot sends you a request to trade, and then you have to trade.
And then you have to send them back.
Yeah.
So it's a lot where it would just be easier for someone to just be like, yeah, here's my $20 for the month.
Yeah. And then, Chad over there presses a button and says, okay, your beans are on for the month.
Yeah. Bro.
And you just get everything.
Bro, thanks for the beans. You're just cards nerd. Yep. And then, and so that would be much easier and eventually would compete out the loan services.
Right.
And if you're, and if you're Chad, or, whoever Daybreak Chad is, right? That's $20 now in your pocket and not in card holder's pocket.
Well, it's more than $20 though, because you're also getting people that probably wouldn't have bought into Magic Online in a meaningful way before, when they would have had to either sign up for a loan service, or spend, $1,000 for a modern mana base.
Yeah.
A digital modern mana base. They're also going to buy ticks to play in events.
Yeah. The only thing is, if enough people are using these subscription services, then the cards start to lose value. Right? Because right now the cards have value because the loan service, a card holder, let's say, needs a Ragavan to give to someone who wants it in their loan program. So they want to buy your Ragavan so they can trade it, so they can loan it to someone else.
I think that having a subscription service like this would get rid of the outliers like Ragavan. I don't know that it completely nukes the economy though.
It probably doesn't, because there's probably still people who want to have cards.
Well, and on top of that, let me take a step back. The person that would sign up for an in-house subscription service on Magic Online is probably somebody that either plays Modern or Legacy, in paper, and wants to play digitally but can't because it's not on Arena. and is somebody that wants to play competitively in practice. So they're going to be, playing a bunch of games with this thing. It's not like, they're just going to play it once or twice a month and be done with it. Not at, $20 a month for your subscription. Between the rewards for events and the treasure chests, like, you can build a collection on Magic Online. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're, sign up for your subscription service for a while, there may come a point where you don't need the subscription service anymore. I don't think you have to get rid of the bots. You can the bots can stay and function just as they do. And you can trade out your winnings and work towards building decks or whatever, and maybe get off the subscription service.
Yeah, like if you're just going to play, like, if you're like, I only play green black depths in Legacy, mm-hmm. and you slowly work towards having green black depths, and then you get to it and you're like, okay. Because, I mean, that deck is relatively cheap other than Thoughtseize.
Right.
So, like, something you could, like, slowly work your way to. Yeah, that's true. That, like, it might be just, like, a way to get people on and playing to increase the customer base. Mm-hmm. But that is, like, the big thing that we could see changing is being like, hey, why are we letting someone else make $20 a week or $20 a month off of our players?
Yeah.
Why aren't we making that $20 or making an effort to make that $20?
I think it's a pretty easy change to make. Like, they already have all of the technology to do it.
Yeah. You just, like, every month you just have to buy, whatever, the
pass. I mean, you could do it right through the store. Yeah, you wouldn't even need to do, like, a true subscription service. You could do it right through the store.
You just go in and you buy the Eternal Weekend Pass, but it's just the January card pass.
Right.
And, or whatever, with 30 days access.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, oh, hey, cool, I have 30 days access to everything.
Yeah.
And they just keep doing that over and over and over. And then that's, money that they're getting that's not going to someone else.
If this was this hypothetical thing that, we have no proof of and we just kind of started talking about when we read the announcement, if this happens, would they get you?
I think there's a chance that they would, where I could, right? Like, I have a finite amount of time.
Right.
So maybe instead of coming upstairs and playing a video game, right, like on my PlayStation or whatever, maybe I'm like, oh man, I really want to play, like, Legacy. And, like, I buy the pass for the month, and then, okay, like, I'll play, like, 2 games, and, like, maybe on Saturday I have, like, extra time and I, like, play 2 leagues or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, I could definitely see myself doing that, whereas, like, this is an alternative to playing another video game.
Yeah. The thing that I think is cool about the subscription service in relation to Legacy particularly is that Legacy is such a cool format that nobody gets to play because it's so expensive and has, like, a huge amount of like, variety of decks in it. And I think a subscription service could highlight that, where, it's probably not feasible for you to play Depths one week, Snow Control the next week, whatever variant of Delver the week after at your local game store. You could do all of that in an afternoon with a subscription service on Magic Online.
Yeah, I mean, this is something, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, we thought maybe in the pre-show. What is his name? The best voice in Magic.
The best voice in Magic?
Yeah. The guy who does, like, this heavily animated things that talked about the arena economy.
Oh, yeah. Brewer's Kitchen?
Yeah, Brewer's Kitchen, right?
Yeah.
He brought up
that, best voice in Magic, for sure.
Yeah, he brought up in that arena stifles, like, that creativity and exploration because it's so hard to get cards.
Yes.
Right? A subscription service would do the exact opposite because now you're not limited by, like, oh man, I want to try this crazy Kragan Wick Cremator deck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you're not like, oh man, now I've got to come up with all of these cards. You're just like, oh, this is the thing I want to play.
Yeah.
And you like play a league and you go like, well, that was bad. Or, oh man, I think that was pretty neat. I got to make these changes. And then you just go make the changes and you play another league.
Right.
Right. And now they're, like you said, now they're getting you might have played 3 leagues with this deck as you were trying to tune it.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got you for 3 league entries.
Right.
Right. So, again, we have no proof that this is how anything would work or anything that's in the plans. But if I was trying to extract max value, right, this is what we would subscription service. Also,
for sure.
Like, I don't know what the Magic Online terms of service are. Like, have they specifically said we will not do a subscription service or whatever? But
I have no idea.
If they're transferring control of the game, maybe this provides them an opportunity to do a major overhaul of the terms of service. Now,
maybe
any terms of service you've ever agreed to basically are like, yeah, you're agreeing to this, but we can change it whenever we want. So this might not have been an issue, but they may have been doing it for, like, you know, continuity of the community and whatnot. Like, oh, we don't want to, like, blow this thing up. But Daybreak kind of has a chance to have, like, a fresh start.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and
a relaunch, kind of.
Yeah. So in May, when they get full control of things, it's going to take a while. I think it's going to be May or June before everything is, like, moved over to Daybreak, right? Yeah. They might be able to be like, okay, hey, we're going to do, like, you know, kind of blow it out, new launch. Here are all these changes to make things better.
Yeah.
And, you know, this could be a way that they do that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I can only imagine that, well, you and I are super geniuses, of course.
Right.
That someone at Wizards
Chad
has thought of this. Bro, make them pay us the money, not GoatBots. Screw GoatBots. Chad gets beans. No goats. Beans don't go to goats. Beans go to Chad. Right? That has happened. We have had this conversation, and someone's been like, no. That person may not be at Daybreak.
Right.
Right?
I mean, it might not even be at Wizards anymore, but yeah.
I mean, I can only assume that Daybreak was like, why don't you guys make them pay you the money and not GoatBots? Right? And Wizards was like, and Chad's like, bro, I told you, bro. And so there has to be a way. But maybe there was something where maybe there was someone who was like, no, that's not what Magic Online was supposed to be. We have to honor the spirit of it, blah, 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 blah. And then people are just like, no, you don't work here anymore. Daybreak's got to get paid.
Yeah.
Or like Daybreak's Chad is just way more aggro.
Beans.
Exactly. He's like a case of Red Bull in every morning by 9 a.m. just on like the edge of a heart attack and murdering someone. Yes, at all times.
Yeah.
So maybe he's a little more aggressive. Like, no.
Don't look at that man in his forehead too hard. It'll blow.
I want beans now. And I'm like, okay, please don't hurt me. Please let go of my throat. Please. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like, the range of possibilities are, right, go from nothing changes.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same broken program.
I mean, that's probably the most likely.
That is probably the most likely.
Nothing changes. Yeah.
That nothing changes. But there's an opportunity for, hey, we can revamp this, and it could simultaneously be slightly more player-friendly and more profitable, which those two things very rarely ever line up.
Yeah. So there's like a whole other side to this. I don't know how deep you want to dive in here, but you're forgetting about the most populous group of Magic players.
Commander? Or
Yeah.
the kitchen, or I was gonna say, or the voiceless kitchen table player.
Well, I don't know how many of the kitchen table players are just kitchen table players. I would imagine a lot of kitchen table players are Commander players.
Fair.
But yeah, Commander players. Like Magic Online's the only place where you can play online Commander. And a lot of those decks are not cheap. Even on Magic Online, they're not cheap. So if you could subscription service some Commander nerds where normally you wouldn't be getting any of their beans.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you get digital beans.
Yeah, again, like, you give them something, you give them nothing.
Right.
Right? They pay you for the opportunity to pay you to use the thing.
Right.
Right. That is great. It's like, I'm getting paid twice. You are.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, there are upsides to this. And I think, like I said, I think it works out well for players, right? Lets Commander players have access to more cards and more decks and be able to play more things.
Yep.
It's good for the company because now you're getting people to pay you for access to cards and to pay you to then play in your events.
Yep.
Because, like, I don't know how many people just, like, open packs on Magic Online.
I don't know why you ever would.
Yeah, like, why, like, so people draft, and that's, like, the reason that packs get open for the most part.
Yeah.
But no one's going to the store and just spending $3 on a pack of Magic Online cards and then opening them.
No, definitely not.
Does not happen. So I don't think that changes anything.
No, I don't think so.
All right. So from Magic Online being put in a basket and dropped off at the doorstep of Daybreak Games, I was like, well...
Are you a fireman?
Yeah, are you a fire... The meme, the butterfly, the guy just looking, is this a fireman? His Magic Online gets dropped off. It's like, sir, Magic Online is like 20 years old. You can't just leave it at a fire station. Watch me.
Chad says I do what I want.
Yeah. Bro, I'm just going to drop it off here. Send me beans every month. Right. So we go from that, which is just a great image. You go from that to big news in the world of coverage.
The end of an era.
Yes.
It technically already ended, so
it kind of ended 2 years ago, but kind of didn't. Yeah. Cedric, mainly the big one I think is Cedric. A. Phillips on Twitter announced that he will no longer be working with Star City Games. So he's not going to be
in any capacity.
Yeah, so he's not going to be the online content coordinator. He's not going to be doing the editing of articles, and most importantly, he will no longer be doing commentary or like running the SCG tour.
Right.
Because it seems as though there will be no SCG tour for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. When this news came out, I was kind of caught a little bit off guard. So I actually didn't see Cedric's full post until like a little while afterwards. And then I found P. Sully's full post and read that a little while afterwards. It was just like a Reddit thread where I saw the news first. Then I kind of had to go digging. So I don't remember where all of my information came from. But I want to say the term indefinite hiatus was used.
Something along those lines. Basically, Cedric had mentioned on the receivables that people on his stream were like, yo, man, when's the SCG tour coming back? And he was like, look, like, there's going to be an announcement. I'll let you, like, I'm not just going to, like, tell you, random viewer of my stream. And in his announcement, he was kind of like, people were asking me, and I knew the answer, but I couldn't say. And, like, the answer was, it's not coming back. Like, there is no return of the SCG Tour.
Right.
So, like, I can't tell you when it's coming back.
Right.
So, he is planning to try to grow the Coalesce Apparel brand and stream more. And it sounds like the Receivables might not be an SCG joint anymore.
I don't know that it was ever a joint. I think it was something that SCG sponsored heavily, but I don't know. I think it was Cedric and Pete Sully's show.
But what's his name? Nick Miller was doing the research. So
yeah, but like that might have just been
like a freelance thing. But it sounds like they both kind of pumped the Receivables as a thing they were doing, and Cedric's gonna podcast more. So he's kind of taking the most 2020 to 2022 point of view, which is I can be my own boss and do these like 6 things that I was already doing, but I can free up 8 to 10 hours a day to focus on these things.
Yeah.
Instead of having to like convince Jerry to write an alchemy article, I can spend that time doing Coalesce Apparel or doing my stream for 3 hours.
Yep.
Or what have you.
Yeah, whatever.
So, he had like a quote from Gary, might have been the Gary V from like TikTok and YouTube and social media fame, that was basically like, you know, it's fine to be a 2 or a 3 if you really like believe in the thing, but like if you think you're a number 1, go be a number 1 or something along those lines. And he was like, I know I'm a number 1. Like, I think he was willing to stay at SCG and not be a focal point / like driving what they were doing.
Right.
Because I think that he was very much interested in, you know, building the SCG Tour.
Yeah, building the brand, which he definitely did.
Which he had done.
Yeah.
So I think that he looked at it was like, okay, if you're not going to like use me in the way I want to be used, I can just go do my own thing, right? So like, you know, I think that it's pretty clear going forward that any televised WotC or televised or streamed WotC event, Cedric is going to be doing commentary.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's pretty clear from now on.
Yep.
I don't know how much of that stuff there's going to be, but if it exists, like Cedric's going to be doing Cedric stuff. Right?
For sure.
And so he's leaving. He also brought up he's moving to Denver, which he had mentioned on the Receivables. And that segues into Patrick Sullivan is no longer going to be doing SCG stuff. But the main thing Patrick did was the SCG Tour, which hasn't happened in like 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, is he really wasn't involved with a company like Cedric was.
Yeah, he basically was like, I wasn't contracted. I had no affiliation with the company right now. So, pretty clean break.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to keep doing the podcast with Cedric.
Yep.
And yeah, sounds good.
Yep.
Because, like, I'm sure if they move to, like, a Patreon type model for the podcast, right? Because, I mean, think about, like, Marshall from Limited Resources.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money he's making from the podcast.
Yeah.
But he's doing okay. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, you know, and they give that thing away free every week.
They sure do.
So I'm sure if Cedric and P. Selly were doing the Receivables for the next 4 years or whatever, that they would be doing just fine if they were like, yo, throw us a couple bucks on Patreon. Though I think Cedric doesn't like Patreon, but this might be a time to like Patreon.
I
think he's brought it up
Sully
before.
Doesn't like Patreon.
Maybe not. Anyway, but just hey, like ways to get money that again is not going through like SCG.
Yeah.
Right. And again, there's nothing stopping SCG from continuing to sponsor the receivables.
Right.
And like kicking them some money because Limited Resources is now brought to you by. I swear it's not shady cryptocurrency exchange. FTX.
Yeah.
Really not shady, we swear. So they so like there's no reason that like they couldn't sponsor it, or again, like, the receivables brought to you by Coinbase.
Right.
Right. Or whatever whatever other thing, P silly NFTs or whatever. Did you know P silly's on Cameo?
I did. That's how I know that he's not a fan of Patreon, because he went on a big long rant on receivables about how he would rather do Cameo than
that's
Patreon.
Right. That's where it was, because it's basically like I can say no.
Yeah.
I don't need. I'm not beholden to any jamokes, basically. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's interesting because I think that a lot of us had held out hope that, hey, WotC is really dropping the ball on this OP thing.
Yeah.
But don't worry, like, third parties are going to come up and do these events. Mm-hmm. Right? So maybe there won't be a Pro Tour, but maybe, like, the SCG Tour will raise in stature.
Right. Because step in and fill the void.
Yeah. And it seems clear that SCG is not about that life.
Right.
For now, it could be that, like, but I thought I saw a thing that they, like, are coming back.
Well, so they're moving to kind of the same model that Wizards is moving to, where they're doing, like, more of a convention, less of a tournament.
Okay, because I'd seen stuff about, like, vaccination requirements or, like, negative tests or, like, some argument about it. So they were coming back, but they're not coming back with, like, coverage.
The SCG Con is coming back.
Okay.
And it's being expanded. So, like, we had an SCG Con last month or something, right?
And it was over Halloween.
Yeah. And I think there was an announcement last week, maybe, that they were expanding it, and the next SCG Con is going to be in, like, 4 different cities.
Okay.
Instead of, like, just one city. But and I'm sure that there's, like, side events and stuff at those things, but I don't think there's a main event like there used to be.
Yeah, they're going to the, like, the Wizards model of, like, we can hold this thing,
right,
and remove the overhead of coverage, and that's not going to impact our bottom line.
Well, it's more than just coverage, though, because if you run side events, you use Wizards' new app, where you don't need to man a booth. You don't need to pay, a fleet of judges. If you have a whole bunch of little events, like, one judge can run a couple events, and you don't need, the big stage with people printing match slips and the whole rigmarole. And you don't have to worry about, like, pre-registrations. You don't have to worry about like a changing prize payout structure. There's a whole bunch less to worry about when you're not running, a big 1,000-man event and just running a bunch of small events and, pick up commander games.
Yeah. Fair. So yeah, we're definitely moving away from, like, that era of Magic.
Yeah.
Even more so because, like, again, what we thought was our backstop has gone away. Now, is there a non-zero chance?
Oh, are you going to ask the question I was going to ask you?
Oh, let's see. Was your question, is there a non-zero chance that in a year we're going to the Cedric tour, where
that is exactly what I was going to ask you. Is what are the chances that Cedric and P. Sully start up their own tournament series or whatever,
where they just do all the commentary?
Yeah.
I mean, they know all the people.
Well, not only do they know all the people, but they also like have experience with running events.
Yeah, I mean I don't know how much running of events P. Sully did. I think there was more of that on the Cedric side, right? But yeah, like the other thing is I don't know how good of a hire it is, right? But Wizards hired Huey Jensen to run OP.
Yeah.
Which, on one hand, this is someone who has been in the OP system for like 20 years.
Right.
And should be able to know what the players want and things like that. But on the other hand, this is someone whose job has been playing a card game, and I don't know if that translates the skills to be able to run a giant organization within an even larger corporate organization.
Yeah, I think there's two more points that like need to be addressed with that. The first is that I think Huey is a fine person, and he's obviously very talented at Magic. And I don't know him super well, or at all. So maybe I'm way off base. But for somebody to be like the face of OP, I think you need to have a little bit more personality.
Yeah.
Like Huey's just kind of like one-dimensional. Like,
yeah,
he's him at all times.
I mean, so think about, was it Elena Bachot? Was that her name? The French woman who ran organized play for years?
Yeah, I don't think that's what Wizards wants anymore.
But my point being, like, she wasn't like the biggest personality.
No, she wasn't.
But like, she could run the thing. And I guess the analogy I come to, and I might be wrong, he might be awesome at this, right? Mm-hmm. For every like Larry Bird, who was a great player and turned out to be a really good coach, and also was a very strong like executive in the NBA, right? There's an Isaiah Thomas, who was a great player, a trash coach, and a trash GM.
Yeah.
Who like murdered 2 franchises.
Yeah.
And so like he very well could have the skill set to be a phenomenal executive within corporate culture. He could also not have that skill set and be a phenomenal Magic player who does not have those skills. And because like I don't know like if Huey had a day job, and if so, what was it?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because like I never heard about that. Like I feel like just because like LSV is more forward facing or like public, you've known what LSV's like various like, you know, employments outside of Magic are. Right. He was a game designer. He did all the advertising and marketing, or a lot of it, for Channel Fireball. Right now he's like doing development and like a lot of the ad stuff for Storybook Brawl. Right? Like I don't know what Huey's gig was other than Magic player.
I mean, I think that was his gig.
Yeah, so
at least for the last couple of years, he was in the MPL, right?
Yeah, so I guess my thing is like, just like I don't think I would make a you know, I don't know, a good department chair.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a professor doesn't mean like I have the skill set and temperament to be a good department chair. Right. Just because he's a Magic player doesn't. I don't know if that means he has that skill set, but they at least hired someone that players can think like, oh, this person's going to have my interests at heart, which also makes me think, oh, this could be the hire that they just hired to wallpaper over the problems. We hired Huey. He has your interests at heart. Right.
Well, so I had like there was a second part to that I didn't get to talk about.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I mean, it's good discussion. Whatever, it's fine. But I don't know. Did you see where I had posted the actual job description from like LinkedIn or wherever it was?
I read part of it and thought, how does he have these things?
Well, like the very last line explicitly states that they do not want something resembling the old OP. And
Awesome.
you're hiring somebody that has 20 years experience in the old OP.
Where was it at here? Where's that? Also, the understanding that we can do much more to draw large groups of new people into Magic play communities that will offer them joy and belonging. The ideal candidate has a great knowledge and experience of different play communities, both TCG and outside of it. And, yeah.
It sounds very much like they're trying to push the convention aspect and less tournament aspect. And there was something in there about fostering casual play at local game stores and like all of this stuff that is not related to having 20 years experience in the old OP system.
Yeah. So, play programs to oversee, director play programs to oversee a full range of play programs that Magic offers, ranging from high-level retention-focused competitions to acquisitions-focused new suites of social and casual play. You'll manage a group of play specialists and work with larger teams of product designers, game designers, and our sales and marketing group to ensure that these programs are executed fantastically in hitting the right goals and metrics for growth and retention. And then the last part is what I talked about before, having the knowledge of and experience in TCG systems. So, yeah, it is. I mean, maybe that's always a job description, but as someone who has been, enfranchised in the highly competitive, retention-focused play, I don't know how much of that they're going to do. Right. But here's the other thing. Huey gets hired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need to bring in some people that know how to run tournaments. Yeah. Do you call Cedric?
I don't know. Are they tight?
I don't know, but Cedric had said on the receivables that he was willing to, Wizards, hire me. I can do this. I think he actually applied for the job.
Yeah.
Or which boggles my mind if you don't hire Cedric.
Right.
He took your lunch for 8 years. He just took your lunch money every weekend. You're I'm going to counter program Cedric. And Cedric's like, who are you? I have 4 times your viewership. Go away.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know how you don't hire him. Or at least, if you don't hire him, you don't call him up and go hey, I want you to build our brand like you built the SCG brand. Mm-hmm. And make you clearly have a model on how you want to build up people.
Right.
Let's do that. Now you could also, be I can figure out how to do this and not involve Cedric. But it just seems like he would be the more natural fit for that.
Yeah. He's definitely I think a better fit. And kind of the point I was making, the first point I was making with Huey is that I think there needs to be somebody that's not Morrow doing Morrow things. Somebody with a big personality that's forward facing and is engaging with the community, but that talks about playing the game instead of here's the story for Urza's block.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
I think that they're trying to do that with Gavin. Right? Gavin Verhees?
Yeah.
Like that seems like with Good Morning Magic, which
yeah, that's
like
true.
which that kind of like that thing kind of like blurs the line between like playing Magic and like behind the scenes design stuff, and it's like super accessible. And I feel like it started out with like Gavin just being bored, doing it, and now like it's got like full production like value, and like Watsy got him a nice camera and like someone in an editing bay.
Yeah,
but like I feel like that's what they're trying to do with that. But like I could see,
maybe.
you know, like if you had a person like Cedric, who Huey's like the man at the top, who speaks very infrequently.
Yeah.
Right? But Cedric is like your face of like high-end organized play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Cool. And then you have someone else that is your, casual acquisitions person. Right? Yeah. And they talk about that. Then great. But I don't... Like, just, like, Huey does not... You're right. Huey does not strike me as, like, the person you're going to put on camera.
Yeah, he's not, like, the charisma guy.
Yeah.
And I think if you're trying to, like, drive a brand, drive OP, like, give people something to belong to, like, you kind of need a charismatic face to run that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I don't know if he's the guy for it, but...
We'll see.
He's the guy we got. So going back to Cedric, and like he is like it's just weird, right? Like Cedric has been part of SEG for as long as we've been back playing Magic.
Yes.
Like I think he started like a year before I got back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of, he's always been someone that is there.
Yep.
And like associated with them. And
yeah, it's going to be weird.
Yeah. But I guess I will be honest. I have not gone to an SEG, the SEG site to like read an article in like a year and a half.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I visited SCG's site for anything.
When I was selling cards, and I rapidly realized that Card Kingdom beats their buy list, beats SCG's buy list price on every single card. So I just stopped looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't been to their site to do like anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, like if you're looking at like traffic on your site to your articles, like, okay, it's not there. Like maybe Cedric is looking at it being like, yeah, this isn't super rewarding anymore. Like we're not driving the conversation about Magic, right? We're not engaging people because like everything is crumbling around it.
Right.
But it would be pretty hilarious if like, it's the Cedric tour and he just like dusts off like Jerry and Brian Gottlieb.
I mean, they jump on in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I mean, there's also something else to think about. And this could be, and this is something that we have seen that maybe we don't think about. Right? Like Jerry and Brian are have been reticent to travel to events in the past, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like we've seen that you can like live stream your coverage, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe you get Brian and Jerry, and you're like, yeah, you only have to come to like, every third event. Mm-hmm. You can do 2 out of the 3 from your house, right? Yeah. We'll just like, you'll have the Twitch stream up, and then you'll like broadcast over that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we can cut to you guys for commentary, so you don't have to come to site. Right? Like, hey,
that's an
like,
interesting thought.
Right? Like, because, if you're Jerry and you're like, yeah, I've got, like, he's talking about, like, I've got 3 cats now, I can't travel as much.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to if they have, the Cedric Tour in Washington, D.C., you live in Virginia, you can drive up there for 2 days. Like, that's not a huge ask for your cats, right? But if they do Cedric Tour Denver, maybe you don't want to leave for like 5 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tag in P. Sully.
Or you just are like, I'll stay home and cast this one from the house.
Yeah.
Right? And like eliminate that travel situation.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, hey, like I really want to go to like Austin, so I'll definitely fly to like Cedric Tour Austin to do coverage, and I'll find someone to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, we definitely could see a different mode of coverage going forward where, yes, you have the setup to stream physical cards.
Yeah.
But now that person is, the people doing the coverage are at home.
Right. You don't need the second stage or camera guy or...
Yeah. And I mean, even if you are, what's it called? Like, even if there's a delay, like, Twitch stream won't know.
Right.
Right? Like, it's got to get from you to them to back to you. Like, that's fine. Like, they can be 30 seconds behind. It's not a big deal.
I mean, even if it was a couple minutes behind, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, and you could also, like, still have Nick Miller doing Nick Miller things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you could still have someone on site to, like, interview people to make people, like, feel special.
Right.
Right? So, like, you can still do some of the stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to do it. Like, you would need the setup to, like, stream the things, but, like, that seems, like, doable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting because it does feel like organized play has, like, kind of officially all disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of the last bastion of hope or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's all official now. There's nothing.
Yeah, there is nothing for you to look to that you can be like, oh, if I play a lot of Arena, I will get
play more
good.
Arena.
Yeah. Now I will get some cosmetics. As opposed to, oh, hey, if I play a bunch of Arena and I get really good with my deck, there's a chance I could go to, what's it called? Go to the Pro Tour and like win a bunch of money. It's like, yay! I hit Mythic number 1. I got 5 packs and 3 cosmetics and 2,000 gold. Yay!
Yeah.
And also, I will get made fun of by the pros.
Oh, did you see? I think it was Channel Fireball's Twitter today.
No.
Said something. It was like an advertisement or whatever for LSV's articles, and it said something like, "If LSV can make Mythic, you can too." And it had like a graphic for percentage off of singles or LSV's articles or something. So LSV responds to it, "I haven't made Mythic in months."
He made Mythic at the start of Midnight Hunt and Draft.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the first to realize that at the start of the format, you could force blue-black.
Yeah.
Every single draft. He forced blue-black 20 drafts in a row.
Yeah.
And went to Mythic.
Yeah.
So I think like probably been 3 months.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny that he responded with...
Yeah.
Like the people that are paying you, you just kind of blew their Twitter spot up.
He just blew their doors off. He owns part of the company.
Yeah.
Just blew up his own bag. Just dropped his own bag. Like, thanks, dude. But yeah, like now it's like if you play a lot of Arena, you can continue to play a lot of Arena.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, and I don't know, Arena is just like seemingly 3 poorly curated / balanced formats.
Sure. I don't even know what Arena is anymore.
I mean, what? Like, Standard is still blah.
Yeah.
No one has said the word Standard and Magic in like a month.
Right.
Alchemy, the cards just like make no sense. And like some of them are just not well balanced. And historic is like, hey, here's the supplemental product. Much like modern, you must now buy the supplemental product and only play cards from the supplemental product.
Yeah.
I mean, in like, alchemy is the same way. Hey, these alchemy specific cards, some of them are ridiculously overpowered and unbalanced.
Yeah. How would you like to have a 2-drop that's going to generate 8 mana over the next 3 turns?
That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, I would much like that.
Or oh gosh, the 2-drop that is like, hey, like the what is the werewolf, like the 2/2 that when it flips it gets double strike and like draws you cards or something.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, would you like some busted 2-drops? Sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad, right? Like the SCG tour had done such a good job of developing players in like both in terms of skill and in terms of narrative. Right? If I say the daddy, right, you're like, oh, Kevin Jones.
Yep.
Right? You're like, oh, cool, yeah. Like, we all know who Jim Davis is, and he like used to be a college radio DJ.
Right.
And like plays hockey. Right? Because of the SCG tour.
Right.
There are all these Team Lotus Box, right? Like existed for the SCG tour.
Yep.
Right? So there was all this stuff that sprung up around the SCG tour. And it just didn't like to see that all go away. It's like it was a good thing. Yeah. I think you could argue it was like compared to the Pro Tour, it was kind of like the minor leagues.
I mean, yes and no. Like, I remember having a conversation like in our group chat, like 2016, about watching coverage on weekends and how like anything Wizards does is a joke, and I would just rather watch SCG coverage like all day long.
I meant more in terms of like only the very, very, very upper echelon, like, maybe 10 to 20 SCG tour, like, grinders were ever, like, consistent Pro Tour participants.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like, there was Brad Nelson, who really wasn't a grinder.
Right.
But, like, just kind of, like, cut his teeth on the SCG score and came back. And Jerry.
Yeah.
Right? But, those people that were, like, in the Player of the Year race, they oftentimes didn't translate to, like, when they, them going to making the Pro Tour.
Right.
Or, like, consistently doing well. And I know there are some, like, sneaky, like, top 16 finishes that they weren't top 8. And so we don't hear about them. Yeah. But for the most part, there was like, oh, the people that come out of the woodwork for the Pro Tour, like if that field showed up to an SCG tour, right? Like LSV would top 16 every event.
Right.
Right? Like just wouldn't matter. So what I mean is like in terms of production value and coverage and building stories and narratives and players, like the SCG tour was like A+.
Yeah.
Right.
But
was the big leagues. But like quality of player, I think was a step below the Pro Tour. But, Wizards had the superior talent, but then didn't like market it well.
Yeah. Couldn't capitalize on it.
Now, if anyone's going to like send this podcast to Zan Syed so he can come like dunk on me on Twitter and tell me how bad I am at Magic, right? Yes, you were is this the equivalent of being an extremely good, like a Heisman Trophy winner in college football?
Yeah.
And you're like, a starter in the NFL, but not an all-pro.
Right.
Right? You're not bad at the game, right? But like when the pond got bigger and the talent got condensed, right? You weren't like the best of that next group. You were still very good. Yes, you can dunk on me. You're still better than me. Right? But right, like admittedly it wasn't like the people that were, at the player of the year for SCG. It's not like you were like, oh, like this person's in top 8 or in like, contention for day 2 or contention for top 8 at the Pro Tour. It often felt like the people that like, the Brad Nelsons of the world played like significantly less events than other people on the SCG tour.
Oh,
but smushed everyone when he was there. And then was like, oh yeah, I guess I'll show up and like collect my $30,000 check at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because I played like 15 events.
Yep.
And
well, that was a big thing one year, wasn't it? Where like I forget who it was, but one of the like GP circuit guys or Pro Tour circuit guys had played in a couple like Star City events early in the season and then like didn't play in any more like the whole rest of the season, but was in because he had done well in the few that he played in, was in like contention for player of the year or whatever, and then quick had to like scramble to enter an event like at the last minute right before the season ended to like qualify for player of the year race or whatever.
Yeah. I vaguely remember that. Like, I want to say Ben Stark, but I don't think that was right.
Yeah, I don't think it was Ben Stark.
Well, I mean, Ben Stark was definitely at the SCG thing that I qualified for.
Yeah.
He was definitely at that event at the beautiful Bergen Event Center. Ugh. Right, but he was definitely there. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely... So there's definitely a difference in, like, player. But, like, could you imagine being like, oh, yeah, like, and I know you don't follow sports super closely, but being like, I have no idea who the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is, but I know, like, 4 quarterbacks for these random college teams.
Yeah.
Because the NFL hasn't bothered to tell me who the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is, but these college guys... This man on the screen just tells me about like what this person likes for dinner every single day. And I know that the daddy Kevin Jones is a self-taught tennis player who got a scholarship to Robert Morris. Why do I know these things? Because it was on his player card that I saw like 4 times a weekend.
Yep.
And then it's
exactly.
Yeah. And Watsy's just like, hey, can you do like a terrible deck tech in front of a big board? I can. Yes, I can. Right? Like, they really relied on, like, players to like, sell themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, like, when LSV announced...
That was kind of, like, their whole MO with the MPL, right?
Yeah, it was...
We only want people that are streamers, and you gotta stream, so...
Yeah. Someone told Chad that streaming equals beans, so he wants to make all you guys streamers. Bro, you know how much money Amaranth gets? Bro, get in the hot tub, stream. Mangucci, hot tub.
Bring the scarf.
Yeah, bro, scarf pulls really well, gets me lots of beans.
We're not going to pay you to stream, though.
No. Scarf tub stream, let's go. Yeah, so yeah, I just don't think that they did a good job of that, because the Pro Tour moments that I think of, or like things I've seen in the highlights, like when LSV had like the mustache and like the aviators, the mirrored aviators, like those kind of things. Like, it's not anything that like, or like, gameplay moments, but it wasn't anything that's like some Wizards thing. Right. So, anyway, that's been a long, meandering, like, we went from Magic Online has moved homes, Cedric has moved to new homes, both employment-wise and actual new homes.
Yep.
to hopefully Huey's good at his job.
Hope so.
And yeah,
with some wild speculation thrown in there.
Lots of wild speculation.
Yep.
And me trying to cover my butt so I don't get hate tweets.
I don't think Zan's listening to this show, so I think you're safe.
Yeah, I think so too, and I hope none of our listeners is like, oh, Twitter drama. Because you know what? I'm not afraid to use the block button. Just leave me alone. I'm almost 42 years old. I don't need this.
Oh man.
Yeah, as I pointed out to someone, like I turned 40, and then 3 weeks later, the world ended. It might be my fault.
Probably is.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Since I had a gathering in my home.
Ay.
So.
You're the original super spreader.
I am. All of you guys got COVID from my house.
No, I don't think any of us got COVID that were at your house.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But like, if I'm the super spreader, that can only mean one thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, with all of this, I think we have a show.
I think we got a show.
So if you want to give us some show ideas, please and thank you. You can tweet them at us at CasualTryPod.
Or if you want to tag Zan so he listens to our show and calls Brian out, you can also do that on Twitter. I just gave somebody an awful idea.
Yeah, don't do that.
Please don't do that.
I was going to say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but there is.
Yeah, there is. You can also find us on Facebook at CasualTryHardMTG, or you can email us show@CasualTryHardMTG.com. If you're looking to pick up any singles with some Christmas money, we would appreciate it if you used our TCG Player affiliate link to also give us some of your Christmas money. Anything you purchase after following that link, we'll get a small percentage of to help keep the show going. And if you guys want to support us a little bit more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG, where patrons get access to our show notes, so you know what we're going to be talking about before the show actually comes out. And you also get access to our pre-show, which is kind of all over the place, completely unscripted, like never about anything in particular. But people seem to really enjoy it. So if you want to throw us a couple bucks on Patreon, you can do that, get access to all that stuff, and get put on my mailing list. And, oh, by the way, we got a new patron.
Oh, we did.
I forgot to shout him out at the beginning of the show. Thanks, Dan. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you want to be awesome like Dan, throw us a couple bucks on Patreon and we'll shout you out too. We also have our Discord. There's a link in the description. There's a link on all our social media if you want to come and tell us what you want to hear about. If you got any show ideas, if you got questions about a deck or just questions in general, hop on the Discord. Bunch of really cool people hanging out in there, so come join the fun. I think that's all I got for today. You got anything else?
I don't think so. So with that, we'll catch you on the internets.
We'll catch you on the internets.